text conversation that was exchanged via Signal. Now, using artificial intelligence software, CNN has created an audio version of the group chat. The voices used are reading the text neutrally. No attempt has been made to imitate the actual voices of the officials or alter the text exchange in any way. Present on the Signal chat, in addition to the Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg, were National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who admits he accidentally added Goldberg to the chat, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, CIA Director John Radcliffe, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Middle East Special Envoy Steve Witkoff.
Team. Establishing a principals group for coordination on Houthis, particularly for over the next 72 hours, when Deputy Alex Wong is pulling together a Tiger team at Deputy/Agency Chief of Staff level, following up from the meeting in the sit room this morning for...
Now a show's coming to my mind. The catchphrase was "you're fired." These people don't have plausible deniability. They know the role of their job, and once classified secrets started to be exchanged, that's when they should have left the chat. And if they didn't leave the chat, then the United States contains a whole bunch of other better qualified people that we definitely can put in the role. But I digress. You should probably go watch that full video CNN did, because I'm getting ready to go on a tangent about political strategy. It's also described within that. So if you don't view this whole world, not only the United States, but this country and the world, as a huge chessboard, to understand other countries' political strategies, then you might not understand your own country's political strategies. And the narrative we buy will cause one or two things. Either we will sympathize with the U.S. government, or we will cause a protest, or, our political activism will be triggered. Now, because of political activism, certain groups get labeled such name as terrorist versus being called the freedom fighters. In this particular situation, it is the perception of the narrator to call them the terrorist. When, if you look at the whole story of this country and what's fully going on with the United States and our own government's political activism in other countries, then there's a bigger story going on than what meets the eye in just demonizing the Houthis. The fact that our military's movements and locations wasn't linked to harm our military, that I appreciate that reporter for not leaking it to the wrong people. That is integrity to cause this whole investigation to be even triggered. However, knowing reasons why the Houthis are involved, it goes into why the country that ran away from Iraq is even involved in placing money into their political activism. So that then becomes a bigger picture that involves countries located off of the Mediterranean. Our orange buffoons' political activism in that country then might be a factor into what the Houthis' main goal is to stopping in that shipment. So who tells the story and why they tell that story might matter, especially if people in the country of Gaza are being directly impacted by the country that is white and blue flying that flag. So there might be a reason for the political atmosphere atmosphere to be so tense, and they might not want our public attention to have sympathy for the different things that are happening in other countries, because they want us to support the government's main goal. Now, see, it goes a little bit further back with what was planned with the Ben Gordon Canal. So any canals that might be built in the future might be a private sector investment that you might need to consider, because what others are willing to do to the ancestral indigenous people of this country, it's been grotesque and horrific, and it's a whole bunch of crimes against humanity, especially if they can try to justify building that hotel that might have a name that starts with T on it, or a golf course, or a nightclub, a hotel, a resort, anything, 15-minute cities, the futuristic probabilities that could happen if you're a real estate investor and developer are endless, if you think about it that way. However, what happens to the people before the future of tourism happens in that area totally matters first. So us having sympathy for the ancestral people before the tourist destination comes about means that we might support the Houthis for what they're actually doing. And at the end of the day, more and more people are saying we should probably recount what happened in November with that big old test. So I think at the end of the day, the orange buffoon's the one that needs to be fired.